I'm Anastasia. I'm 22 years old. I currently work for a nonprofit called Abortion Recovery Alabama. It's really by the grace of God that I work there, and I have a passion for helping men and women overcome the shame, guilt, and trauma of abortion. When I was in college, I ended up entering this relationship with a non-believer. And I knew he was a non-believer. I knew that I was a Christian. I knew that I should not have been in a relationship with him. We ended up having sex and entering into this sexual relationship. I got pregnant and I turned to my mom. My mom is not a Christian, but I called her because I felt like I had to. Like, if anyone had to know, she had to know at least. And she had advised me to get an abortion. I did have an ultrasound at the abortion clinic in Tuscaloosa. I was listening for my baby's heartbeat because I was looking, for ways for my mind to be changed. I do remember asking the lady that was giving me a sonogram, is that my baby's heartbeat? And she said, well, it's not a baby. I was in the abortion clinic. It's kind of like the atmosphere of an abortion clinic is really telling. No one is happy, no one is laughing, no one is smiling. It's very thick. We had to take the first pill that stops the progesterone. I was in a room with like 12 other women, and we all had to take it together. They watched us take it. They said we had to make sure that we see you swallow it. I had a lady in there with me who was like 30. I had a lady who was next to me. She was there with her daughter. Her daughter was getting the abortion, and she was like 15, but her mother had to be there because, you need consent. And so it was just a really interesting dynamic in the clinic, but I just remembering, like, I really felt like I had to numb myself because what I was doing was horrific. And so after that experience in the abortion clinic, I went home. And so they give you like 4 to like 8 or so other pills to take. And so I was by myself and I was taking the pills, and it was late. Just the cramping is intense. I was on the toilet, the bleeding. It's extremely, extremely traumatic. I spent 4 days of excruciating pain, bleeding out, scared to go to the hospital because I already didn't want anyone to know that I was having an abortion. And so when I finally, was convinced to go by my mom because she said that me bleeding for 4 days is not normal, I had to get an emergency D&C because my abortion was not complete. And I'm telling them, I remember crying and being like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't need the surgery. And they're like, no, like, if you don't get the surgery, you could die. And after that, life does not just go back to normal. Like, in my brain, I was like, once I have this abortion, I can go back to school. Everything's going to be back to normal. But it wasn't. My life was changed. I had the immediate feelings of grief because I'm grieving the loss of my baby that I bonded with supernaturally, but I don't even know them. I never got to see, their face. So you have that level of grief, and then you have the shame. You feel like you shouldn't even be sad because this was your decision. My mom was not present with me when I had the abortion because she lived in a different state. Recently, though, within the last 6 months, because I work at ARA, she has apologized for advising me to have an abortion, which is really just an act of the Lord. But for a long time, it was really hard, and I had to forgive her. And it was really just counseling that allowed me to get to that conclusion with her, because I was like, my mom is supposed to be my protector, my nurturer. How could she put me through that? How could she tell me to do something like that? But, she's sinful. Everyone's sinful, so there's grace. Thinking, what would I have wanted someone to say to me? I think I would have just wanted someone to really plainly say, just don't do it. All those problems that you think you're going to face, it's nothing compared to the joy that you will have raising a child or having your baby, or even adoption. There are resources. There are people willing to come alongside you. There are people willing to care for your child. And I think that's another lie, is that, you're alone, that no one cares about you, that you're going to go through this alone. And that's really not true. This is regret, shame, guilt, loss. The other choice is life. And so I think we should choose that. I just pray that every woman who finds herself in an unplanned pregnancy comes across a Life on Wheels bus, because it's serious.